2 weeks ago we did data representation passages, last week we did the research summary passage, and today we are on the third passage type. So remember, instead of going by standard this quarter, we're going by passage type, so you're going to get to see real ACT passages. Okay, so this is conflicting viewpoints or fighting scientists, and we're going to do 1 through 8. This one tends to be the one that takes the most time, so I always recommend doing this one last. So I'm actually even going to make a note of it that says do this passage last. There's only ever one of these. There's never 2 fighting scientist passage is on a test, so do this passage last. If you see it, skip it, go to the next one. Only do this one if you have time, just because it does take so much more time. So, and this one, definitely go to the questions first. It's the only way you'll finish. So this says, suppose that deep focus earthquakes were found to be the result of rising magma in the asthenosphere. Whose view would be supported? So earthquakes are from magma in the asthenosphere. That is the main point in that conclusion. So now I need to know which scientist thinks that earthquakes are because of rising magma. So scientist 1 says surface earthquakes occur, but we didn't want that one, we want deep focus. So this one says deep focus earthquakes are caused by the pressure of fluids trapped in the Earth's tectonic plates. That's scientist 1's main point. It'll always be in the first 2 sentences. The main point is in sentence 1 or 2. Write that down. Sentence 1 or 2. The main point of their entire argument is always in sentence 1 or 2. Now this one says deep focus earthquakes cannot result from normal fractures because rock becomes ductile at the temperatures and pressures. Therefore, trapped fluids could not cause quakes. So they are the slippage that occurs when a rock in a descending tectonic plate undergoes a phase change. Okay, so this is from slippage, and this is from pressure of fluids. Okay, so scientist 1 is pressure of fluids, scientist 2 is slippage. Now we need to decide which one of those match. So scientist 1 is pressure of fluids, scientist 2 is slippage of rock. This one says magma in the asthenosphere. Did we ever see the words magma or asthenosphere in those sentences? No, so my answer is D. None of those key terms were present. None of the terms were present. Questions on number 1?
Yeah.
Cool. Number 1 was actually pretty easy. Yeah. It was pretty straightforward. Yes. No, we're doing a lesson. Okay. Scientists 1 and 2. Focus, please. That's me talking to the dot cam, not to you guys, but also focus. Okay, scientists 1 and 2 agree on which of the following points. Deep earthquake activity does not occur between occur below 400 kilometers. Fluid always allows tectonic plates to slip past one another. Rock below 50 kilometers will not fracture normally. Water can exist in the mantle. So what we need to do is find if these answer choices are present in our passages, okay? So, what do they agree on? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go before the scientist because that will tell me maybe what they're talking about. So it says earthquake is less than 20 considerably greater depths. Okay, that's just defining a deep quake. So this says rock is under too much pressure to fracture normally. As a plate is forced down, blah, blah, blah. So I don't see 400 kilometers, so that means I'm going to cross off my first answer choice in the passage. Let's see, does it talk about fluid in the tectonic plates? This scientist does. But this scientist disagrees with it because it said could not. So I'm going to cross off the one that talks about fluids. So I have 400 kilometers crossed off and I have fluids crossed off. Okay, so that means F and G. Water can exist in the Earth's mantle. If I'm reading this, I don't see really, let's see. Releasing water. Water is trapped in the deep sea trenches. Okay. So scientist 1 talks about water, but scientist 2 does not talk about water, so that means my answer is J. Okay? So rock below 50 kilometers will not fracture normally. Now let's find our proof. So I already have proof in scientist 1 where it literally says rock is under too much pressure to fracture normally. That's proof. And now let's find it for scientist 2. Deep focus earthquakes cannot result from normal fractures because rock becomes ductile. So it cannot have normal fractures because rock becomes ductile. That's proof number 2. Okay, so it cannot fracture normally is in both of those passages. So we have one where it says cannot, one where it literally word for word says it cannot fracture normally, and then I have one that says it cannot result from normal fractures. Questions on number 2? Okay, artichoke. So, number 3. Which of the following would provide the best evidence for scientist 1's hypothesis? So scientist 1, the main point again, is that pressure of fluids trapped in the Earth's tectonic plates causes the earthquake. Okay, so that's the second sentence. So it says fluid pressure causes the quakes that we're talking about. Now, which one would help prove that? Alright, the discovery that water can be extracted from mantle like rock at temperatures and pressures, maybe, because it does mention water. Seismographic, and water is a fluid, so I'm going to put a dot because that's a maybe. Seismographic indications that earthquakes occur 30 kilometers below Earth's surface. That doesn't say anything about fluids, so I'm going to cross off B. The discovery that phase changes occur in the mantle rock at depths of over 1,000, maybe, because phase changes could be solid to liquid. And an earthquake underneath LA was shown by water trapped in the sewer lines. Okay, this is not going to be enough for a deep focus quake. Right? The sewer lines are not going to be moving tectonic plates. And it said the fluid in tectonic plates. That's literally below the surface. So that one, sewer pipes are not deep enough. They don't meet the depth requirement. So I'm going to cross that one off. Okay, so now I'm between A and C. So let's go back to scientist 1. So, surface earthquakes, blah, blah, blah. Rock is under too much pressure. Deep focus is caused by the pressure of fluid. As a plate is forced down, increases in temperature and pressure cause changes in the crystalline structure. They dehydrate, releasing water. Other sources of fluid include water trapped in the deep sea trenches. Fluids trapped in rock pores can cause them to fail. Okay, so it looks like we want to talk about something where fluids are trapped in our answer choice more. So let's see. The one that talks about fluids being present for sure is A. C is a maybe, right? So that's like not the strongest argument, because maybe they change from solid to liquid, but maybe they change from liquid to gas or solid to gas. But A is the one that actually talks about water in the rock. Okay. Number 4. Both scientist 1 and scientist 2 assume. So what do they both do? Deep focus earthquakes are more common than surface earthquakes. I don't think that's necessarily important for why the cause, right? So it doesn't say anything about the timing in either passage. So I'm going to cross off F right now. Trapped fluids cause surface earthquakes. Which scientist thinks that? Yeah, that's only scientist 1. So I can cross off G because it's not both. Earth's crust is composed of mobile tectonic plates. Both scientists mention plates, so maybe. Both scientists mention plates. Deep focus earthquakes cannot be detected on Earth's crust without special recording devices. Did they talk about that at all? No. So my answer to number 4 is H. Okay, number JK. Also, I appreciate the gasp, but it's just pens on the floor. Wouldn't be the class without a little drama. All right, number 5. To best refute scientist 2's hypothesis. What does refute mean here? Yeah, debunk or prove it wrong. I like debunk. That's fun. Debunk or disprove. Okay. So what does scientist 2 say that deep earthquakes are caused by? It says that it is slippage when the rock undergoes a phase change. Okay, so it is the rock. It's deep. The deep focus quakes are caused by slippage. Now, what would prove this one wrong? So, would you find evidence of underground water sources? Maybe, because that talks about scientist 1. Recorded deep focus earthquake below 680. That doesn't really talk about slippage, so maybe. Let's see. Let's actually see if there's depths talked about. So it says slippage is here. I'm hearing a lot of talking that I don't want to be hearing. For example, little or no phase change is thought to occur at 400 and earthquake activity doesn't exist. Between 400 and 680, it increases. Okay, so no phase changes are predicted for mantle rock below 680. So that means that if this scientists are right, if the scientist 2 is right, then that means there's no earthquakes at more than 680. So now actually, because we looked back and we looked for those amounts, B actually seems pretty good, right? So if it was below 680, that would totally prove him wrong. So I'm going to circle that as the answer, but I am going to read C and D just to make sure. Okay, so the proof for that one is in the last line of scientist 2. Find a substance that does not go phase change even at depths. Nope, that would prove him right. Show that the rock becomes ductile. That has nothing to do with phase change. Okay, so yeah, B is our best answer. A would help prove scientist 1 right, but it wouldn't help prove scientist 2 wrong. Does that make sense? B directly proves scientist 2 wrong. All right, number 6. According to scientist 1, so my locator is scientist 1. The earthquake at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal occurred because, so scientist 1 talks about water and fluids being trapped. So I want my answer choice probably to deal with water or fluid trapped. Okay, other serpentine and other minerals dehydrate and release water. That's a line from scientist 1. We already read that, so I'm going to put a maybe dot next to that. Fluid waste injected in the ground compressed a thin slab of calcium silicate. No, that's in the ground. That's not deep enough. Fluid waste injected into the ground flooded pockets of a deep sea trench. Also, actually that's maybe a maybe. Fluid waste injected to the ground lowered the shear stress failure point of the rock. So scientist 1 does talk about failure point. So now let's go back. So scientist 1 says, in the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, the injection of fluid waste into the ground accidentally induced a series of focus earthquakes. Laboratory work has shown that fluids trapped in the rock can cause the rock to fail. Okay, so those two sentences is the rock failing because of fluid waste in the ground. So that has this sentence, fluid waste injected into the ground, and it has stress failure. So my answer for 6 is going to be J, because of those two sentences at the end of scientist 1. All right, two more. Scientist two's hypothesis. What's my locator? Scientist two's hypothesis would be strengthened. So what would make it better? By showing evidence. Water evaporates at high temperature and pressures. That disproves scientist 1. It doesn't help prove scientist 2. So that's a science 1 focus. Deep focus earthquakes can occur at 680. From our last answer, we know that's not actually what they want because that's no phase change. So I'm going to cross off B. Compression has the same effect on mantle rock that it has on calcium magnesium silicate. I don't even know what that's saying in relation to the passage, so I probably can't cross it off. I have to go back to the passage to prove that. Water pockets exist at depth below water pockets is again scientist 1, so I can cross off D. So now I'm between A and C, so let's go back. Something about calcium silicate, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go back to scientist 2. And it says, thin plane parallel to stress, just such a phase change, and resultant slivage can be produced in the laboratory by compressing a slab of calcium magnesium silicate. Look, I found my key term. So I have my key term in here. So that means my answer is C, because I found the key term. I found the key term in the passage. Okay, so I can cross off A again because it was a scientist 1 focused. All right, the last one, number 8. According to scientist 2, phase changes in the crystalline structure of a descending tectonic plate occur only at Earth's surface, are not possible, cause certain minerals to release water, and cause slippage. So why did scientists 2 talk about phase changes? Yeah, they said it was literally the cause. That's the second sentence, or that's the third sentence in his passage, or hers. Okay, so I don't even have to read the answer choices really, but I know that J is my answer because I know that in the passage, phase changes cause slippage. Questions on that? Cool.